Have you ever had that moment? You open your electricity bill, you look at that number at the bottom, and you can't make it make sense. You know you've been turning off lights, you've been super careful, but the bill just doesn't seem to care. Well, you're not alone. It's a super common frustration, and today we're going to solve this puzzle together.
I mean, it seems like basic math, doesn't it? If you use half the amount of electricity, your bill should be cut in half. Simple. It works that way when you buy apples at the store. But as we're about to find out, your power bill, well, it plays by a totally different and kind of weird set of rules. So to really get to the bottom of this, we're going to become detectives for a little bit. We're going to take a typical power bill, this one's from Edmonton, Alberta, and we're going to dissect it. We're going to break it down piece by piece to figure out exactly where our money is going. Okay, so first things first, your bill is not just one thing. That energy charge, which is the cost for the actual electricity you used, that's just the tip of the iceberg. It's bundled with a whole bunch of other fees. You've got transmission charges. That's for moving power across the country on those giant towers. Then you've got distribution. That's for getting it down your street and right into your house. Add in local fees, admin charges, taxes, it all gets packed in there. So let's run an experiment. We're going to follow a typical household through a 3-part test to see what actually happens when they try to save some cash. First, they'll hunt for a better rate, and then they're going to get serious about cutting back their usage. Let's see how it plays out. So here's our starting point, our before picture. We've got a family using about 600 kilowatt hours of electricity in a month, and they're paying a pretty high rate, 12 cents for every one of those kilowatt hours. This is our baseline. And boom, here's the bill. The energy they used, that cost them $72. But get this, all those other fees and charges we just talked about add up to $123. That is way more than the cost of the actual power. Slap on the tax, and you get a grand total of over $200. Right off the bat, you can see the electricity itself is only about a third of the final bill. This chart just makes it so obvious. That little bar on the left, that's the $72 for the power they used. And that huge bar on the right, that's the nearly $205 they actually have to pay. That massive gap right there, that's the puzzle we're here to solve. Okay, on to step 1 of their savings plan. Our household gets smart. They shop around, they compare providers, and they lock in a fantastic new rate of just 7 cents per kilowatt hour. That's a massive price drop. We're talking over 40% cheaper for their electricity. You'd expect a huge drop in the bill, right? So what happened? Well, the energy charge did exactly what it was supposed to do. It dropped from $72 all the way down to $42. That's a $30 savings. Awesome. But look at the total bill. It only went from about $205 to $173. So a $30 drop in energy cost only led to a $31 drop overall. Why? Because those other fees and charges, all 123 of them, didn't change. Not one penny. And again, seeing it like this is pretty telling. Look how much that little orange energy cost bar shrank. It got way smaller. But the big blue total bill bar, it barely moved. This shows us that, yeah, finding a better rate helps, but it can only do so much. It's only tackling a small piece of the pie. All right, now for the main event. Our household is going all in. They're swapping out old appliances, putting in LED lights, you name it. They managed to cut their electricity use in half. From 600 kilowatt hours all the way down to 300. This is the ultimate test of use less, pay less. So, the results are in. Their energy charge is now tiny, just $21, but the total bill only fell to about $136. Now, let that sink in for a second. They cut their power usage by 50%, but their total bill only went down by about 21% from the last scenario. How is that even possible? This last chart really says it all, doesn't it? The energy cost is now this tiny little sliver. It's almost nothing, yet the total bill is still stubbornly high. They put in all this effort to conserve, and the reward feels, well, kind of small. So what is going on here? Okay, it's time for the big reveal. Let's pull back the curtain on this whole mystery. If we're not really paying for the electricity we use, then what in the world are we paying for? And here it is. This is the aha moment. Look at this pie chart. In our final, most efficient scenario, the actual electricity they used, the part they can control, is only about 15% of their entire bill. The rest, the vast majority, it's going to distribution, transmission, and all those other fees and taxes.
Let me just put a single giant number on that for you. 85%. Roughly 85% of what you pay every month has nothing to do with how many lights you left on. It's the cost of the system itself. And that brings us to the real answer. You're not just buying a product, like a gallon of milk. You are paying to keep this enormous, incredibly complex machine running 24/7, so that power is there the instant you want it. You're paying for the grid. And what is the grid? It's not some abstract idea. It's all this stuff. It's the miles and miles of high voltage lines, the wires running down your street, the substations, the transformers, all the complicated control systems, and of course, the people, the crews who are on call to fix things in the middle of a storm. These costs are mostly fixed. They're there whether you use a little power or a lot of it. So let's bring this all home. Now that we know this, what does it actually mean for our wallets? And how should we think about our power bills from now on? Now, I want to be really clear about something. Saving energy absolutely 100% still saves you money. In our experiment, cutting their use in half saved that family about $441 a year. That's real money you'd rather have in your pocket. So the lesson isn't that being efficient is pointless. It's just that your savings are always going to be fighting against this huge backdrop of fixed costs. And this right here is the big takeaway. This is the thing to remember. We've kind of been thinking about our power bills all wrong. We're not just buying a commodity called electricity. We are paying a subscription fee for a service. The incredible 24/7 reliability of the power grid that delivers that electricity to us whenever we flick a switch. And this kind of leaves us with a much bigger, more interesting question to chew on. If what we're all really paying for is the grid, its stability, its maintenance, its future, then how should that change the way we talk about everything from solar panels on our roofs to charging electric cars? What does that mean for how we build the energy system of tomorrow? That's something to think about.